Stranding. I think most people probably know the basics of it. It's a walking simulator / mail delivery service game at its core. You take packages on your back from point A to point B. To start with, you basically have to walk everything, quite long distances, and then eventually you get cars and zip lines, and the game starts being less demanding on you to play it, and you can just get things around really quickly and do the story, which is crazy. I mean, I guess the challenge, I think, is one of those things where it's not a very challenging game, I don't think. I think if you come with just the most basic preparation onto in a mission, you'll be fine. If you have like a ladder, you have like a plan, you can get there fine. Occasionally you'll do something dumb, like you'll go somewhere without a ladder and you'll like venture too far into territory and you'll run out of stamina and you've got all your packages and you're falling over constantly and your boots have worn down and you have screwed up, but like you just walk really slowly and you get there in the end. You know, it's not a hard game. There's no real challenge, I wouldn't say, other than the challenge of just enjoying the scenery and taking a moment to
it is,
you know,
soak it all in.
Soak it all in.
And it's Australia this time?
It is Australia this time, of
Very
course.
clearly by the
very
photos.
clearly. A very strange version of Australia that is, 7 kilometers across, I think I measured.
Yep.
There's no cities. Every city is sort of represented by a Fort Knot, I think they call them. Fort Knot West, Fort Knot East. Darwin's been blown up completely.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry, Darwin. And
Bye-bye,
Tasmania's
Darwin.
not on the map. So
Tassie's a city kind of thing, isn't it?
I
by
guess
all
you could say,
accounts?
like, I mean, there is
Yeah.
like a city where Tasmania might kind of go,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's as geographically wrong as anything in the game.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't really care about that.
You played the first game, finished that,
I did.
liked it?
I
Loved
did
or
enjoy it.
Enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
I enjoyed it.
How do you feel this one stacks up as a sequel in terms of, were you expecting this sort of same kind of game, or were you expecting something a little different?
I think I was expecting the same kind of thing. I think what this does best as a sequel is sort of the pacing of things and the granting of powers and mixing up missions and just where it sort of puts a lot of the action, you know. So quite early on in the first one, pretty much on the first mission, you'll like come across a bandit camp straight away. You get guns, you start fighting. You know, that in the first one, I think it was just sort of walking, and then the next bit was walking. And then there was more walking.
It was a couple of
and then
hours
it was like,
before
oh, here's
you
a
even learn
grenade,
about-
throw that at the ghosts.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, now more walking.
Yeah.
More walking slowly. And then there's like some bandits that hit with sticks. And I don't think they even had a gun at that point.
No.
And it's a very long time before you kind of get into the combat. So this mixes in combat a bit earlier, I think, which is a good thing.
They learned their
It's-
lesson.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to have added that I really appreciated, because you're right. The whole first game, to its credit, the whole first game, I was terrified of combat with anyone because I felt underpowered.
Yep.
And there was the stress of if you killed anyone, you needed to cremate them, otherwise they'd create a void out.
Yep.
So that was like an instant game over moment. So you were really incentivized not to engage with the enemy, which was effective for one game. To
Yeah.
go like, I think there was one point it almost happened. The other enemy being the BTs, the ghosts, the stealth, which made you crawl or crouch walk slowly in a game where you're already moving slowly. So I always couldn't stand those moments.
Yeah, those bits sucked as well. And you also had a baby that would start crying at you.
Yeah, so it was like stress and slow and so those are the things I think they've really sort of curved, sort of softened the edges
Softened.
here.
And I mean, you do still have Lou on you for most of the game, and he does cry, but like playing through the game, she does cry, but like playing through, I don't think she started up once on
It's
me.
just
like
totally. I
I
think
think
it
got better with the baby.
I guess I got better with the baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah, she
But
trusts you.
I think like Kojima's reaction to go like, okay, people probably want a bit more action in this game. It
Yeah.
feels like you'd be kind of sacrificing some of the artistic integrity, but there was so much in the first game that now bringing in a bit of the kind of almost Metal Gear Solid camp scoping out, and
Yeah.
like almost every weapon here is just a plastic bullet, and you're making so it just
It
completely
takes a long time to get anything that's actually lethal.
Totally, which I think was a smart move because it just let me play a different
You're like
type of
Batman.
game in this.
You like Batman?
Yeah, but you can basically play Solid Snake style base clearing in this, which is a fun break from all of the journeying
Yeah.
around, that kind of thing.
And
So
it
I
is-
thought I might hate that, but I liked it.
Yeah, I think the combat is also quite optional for the most part. Like I say, sometimes the missions will put something in front of you, and I think it introduces the combat earlier, but by the sort of middle of the game, it's very easy to be like, well, I'm just going to go around it if I don't want to engage with it, or if you just want to drive your car straight into the base, jump out, machine gun everyone, you could do that. If you want to, snipe from a mountain, go in. Metal Gear slowly, like rope and stealth.
So many reviews talk about the sniper rifle that's in this, and they're like,
Yeah.
that's kind of everyone's choice because there are so many vantage points because there's mountains,
So
and everyone's like,
satisfying.
I know how
And
to climb them.
You can climb wherever you want.
And
Exactly.
there's something very satisfying about being, that far away and calculating the bullet drop. It's very easy to calculate it, and you get that nice little slow mo when you knock someone down in a headshot.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's like
satisfying.
straight out. Well, I guess it's not. It's a new engine. Obviously, it's a.
Well, it's the
Kojima
Decima engine. It's the Horizon engine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So they used that in the
okay.
first game, but just their own
I thought Kojima.
very
Productions
different
built them.
versions of it.
Yeah.
It's so impressive.
Oh, it's so
this,
beautiful.
This is maybe not in a fidelity sense. It is very high, but this is the most beautiful game I've ever played from a landscape. And I
Skip a bit because this is not selling that.
this
But
is
even this is kind of
perfect.
beautiful in
I
its own
love
right.
this.
my version of driving through, I was driving through the dunes where there was a sandstorm on its way after a rainstorm had happened, and it was sunset, and it was just like some of the combinations of the scenery in this game, and for how much we mock it not being Australia, there are a lot of areas that do draw really heavily from Australia fauna. Flora?
Flora and fauna.
yeah.
I was like, good shorthand.
Got it, got it out of the way.
Yeah.
But like some areas do very much feel like bits of Australia in it. So I think it's a cool choice. The wildlife was a big thing they were touting in this.
Yeah.
That's like you can capture and.
Did you see any?
I've only seen an emu. I backed over a kangaroo once.
I
That's
accidentally
likes.
drove
That's
over like
excellent.
a wombat, and you lose like 100 likes, and I just
What
reset.
the fuck are likes?
Well, you get likes. Like people.
They were in the first game. They're kind of the currency that's in there. That
First of all, you get likes from NPCs and you get likes from real players. So as you progress the story,
Oh, yeah,
like
basically.
if you're driving along just having a good old time, Lou will even be like having fun. I'm like, yeah, and give you a
Gives you
like.
likes.
It's dumb.
Yeah.
And then like real players will be like, oh, they'll like structures you leave down, and by the end of the game, it breaks down
Yeah,
like
baby,
how
give
many
me a
likes you
thumbs
got
up.
from real people and fake people.
Yeah, okay.
It's funny how similar to the first game like this is. I thought there might be some wilder swings, I guess, in terms of, but it really, as you said,
There are enough wild swings going on here.
I mean, they're in the story, but the big change up here, as Joe said, it's like the story really gets into it a lot faster. There's a lot of assumed knowledge, so they don't hang around in the weird as much, which I find might be appealing for people coming to this and not playing the first game. It's easier to gloss over that stuff and just enjoy the game that opens up a lot quicker. As you mentioned, they don't Metroid you and go, you've lost every power, you have to re-earn everything. They quite quickly give you all the stuff that you want or that you use to get around. The saddest thing I thought was that I did end up relying on vehicles
A lot.
and it stopped. I looked forward to the one or two story missions that say, hey, you need to get over a mountain here, or hey, you
Totally.
can't put this one in a vehicle, because they are where those moments that you pointed out beautifully in your review, that kind of Red Dead riding into Mexico moment, which again Kojima's built the game into. It's like there's constantly moments where they go, this song, this vista, this bit of the story, just enjoy this.
But I mean, there were so many times where like a song would kick in, and I'm just zooming across in my car, and
Totally.
then, like the song has like
The-
10
as
seconds
the-
to play
as it
before I
gets
get
on
there.
the time.
Yeah,
as it gets to the chorus, you turn up at the bass,
you
and
just
it's like,
park, you just park outside the base and let the song finish before you
no,
go in.
it fades out because you get there too quick, and it's like
Sometimes I'm listening to an audiobook and I'm like getting close to the end of a chapter and I'll pull into my driver and I'll sort of just sit in the car for the next 6 minutes,
gotta let it
6
finish.
minutes and let it finish.
Yeah.
And the other, they give you a music player in this one, so you can choose to listen to the music, but only in areas that are connected to the network. So when you want to go setting off into the vast unknown, it's like you drive over a line, it's like
Static goes out.
your radio drops out, and you're like, come
But,
on.
there is like the last quarter of the game is pretty much all on that big mountain range, and that's some of the most fun I had, where I had those moments of like, oh, I didn't bring a boot or a ladder, and I am actually now completely screwed at the top of a mountain.
Yep.
The only way is to like fall down, or like I need to carry all this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and,
So I almost understand why people enjoy this game. I don't. I didn't like the first one.
Sure.
And the big kind of like disconnect from me was like I kind of got fed up with it asking things of me.
Sure.
I was like, it was like, walk slowly. At first, I was like, this is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
This is the most amazing thing any developer has ever done in spending $100 million to make a parcel delivery video game at a AAA scale. I thought it was like the coolest thing that I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
And then within like 5 or 6 hours, I was like, you cannot be asking this shit of me still. The slow walking to get to a cutscene that was so far up its own ass and didn't make any sense that I was like, and then to then walk back from there, like the cycle of that was so frustrating to me that I really started to just I found it really abrasive as opposed to beautiful.
Sure.
But hearing that the pacing of this is a little different, that's, I guess, exciting to me. But I feel like it's still the same type of experience, and maybe if I don't enjoy that, I'm not going to enjoy this one.
Maybe, but if you had kind of enjoyed that fundamental idea, but like, as you say, the pacing of it, and it was asking too much too slowly, I think this kind of does a better job of, giving you power suits and vehicles and moments where, like, if you aren't enjoying that aspect, there are ways you can alleviate that. And I do think now the first game set up the lore. This time they're kind of like, yeah, we don't have to explain all these concepts. We're just getting into story and like human emotions and people reacting to situations.
Yeah.
And even you and I talked about how even when they do touch on that lore stuff, you're like, they mentioned the beach, timefall. You're like, yeah, I know about that now. It's not trying to wrap your head around a dumb concept or a overly.
It wasn't
creative
even that. It was like how much they harped on about the same thing over and over, which if they're not doing now, is better writing and more.
I would say it's
interesting,
much more concise. I've been,
much
if
more
anything,
concise.
craving some cutscenes, being like, oh, there's a lot of game here before I get to the story beat.
And I think even those moments where it is a bit up its arse and you're like, this is just artsy and there's no way, intentionally you're not meant to know what's happening, right? It's very confusing. It all just looks so beautiful. You're like, I don't know what's happening here, but this guy looks like Solid Snake and he's riding a motorcycle with a bunch of like ghost soldiers. I'm invested.
Yeah.
And I want to see what this is about.
For me, it was like, okay, if the reward for me persevering for a 45-minute walk is I get to see Troy Baker look wet, I'm like, that's not worth it.
Now you get Troy Baker being
A
like
clown.
chewing up every scene, and it's great.
Okay,
like,
cool.
I wish there was
worth
more
it.
of him. I do wish there was more of him.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously don't want to talk spoilers, but I'll just say, like, I can't wait for people to play the final act of this game because, oh my god,
I'm about three quarters.
oh my god.
3/4 of the way through, and I'm very much looking forward to getting to the end. I just think, to your point again, though, Pete, like this one definitely teaches you a shorthand for how to play, even if it's learning which things to skip. Which is like every loading sequence is actually skippable. Every time he gets in the lift, gets into bed, gets out of bed, gets into a vehicle, you just learn which ones you can skip. And you can really tighten up the kind of moment to moment, combined with how you want to set out. Like, this is one of the only other long walks I did in the game so far. Everything else was, do I want to take the monorail? Do I want to invest in the roads? Do I want to try and tie everything to this vehicle and fang it over that hill, or go around it and pick up 2 more packages? Like, if you can turn it into a management system, which is a bit more of that, what's the way to do this super efficiently? And you do 3 package drop-offs and you don't get sent back in a circle and you do it all perfectly. You're like, that's a highlight of being super satisfying. No, I think you would find that gratifying, but it involves planning and going and hoping everything goes right on that little journey.
Yeah.
Who's
And
your
I think this
favorite
one,
character so far? Is it the VTuber?
it's not the VTuber. There's an Australian actress who pops up in it, Rain or Rainy.
Yep.
Yeah, she's kind of interesting, but I don't know what the point of her is yet. Yeah, look, they're all. I like.
Like this
I
might be a
Tarman.
like minor spoiler, but her this isn't a spoiler really. It's just a character that you meet in a bunker.
Yeah.
But like she has a room full of lorikeets, and when she joins the crew, the lorikeets are left in charge. So you make deliveries to the lorikeets. You find like birdseed out in the world. You're like, yeah, I get to see the lorikeets.
You get a message saying
That's so
someone has broken
nice.
into my room and has sent a message for birdseed, and you turn up and the hologram is lorikeets, and you're like, ah. Seeing Tassie devils and rainbow lorikeets, and just some of the Australian fauna is like, there are little moments of like, oh my god. But to my point, I
Did
think
they put a thylacine in?
there is not one that I've found. But yeah, I think
It's the
to your
future,
point,
not the past.
there's a more compact game. It's a big game. There's a more sort of like tailored experience here that gets on with a little faster, and
So it's a bit easier to like skip over the stuff you find boring if you don't want to. Like I personally really enjoy making the roads, and it's very satisfying once you've spent way too long doing that. When you get a mission that's just like, oh, deliver this along the monorail line, and you can literally just go click click. And it's done. You've delivered a mission.
Yeah.
That's really satisfying. But it's like I've spent 15 hours doing that, and then I see a star rating go up over there, and I'm like, well, was that satisfying? In a way, it was.
But I also agree. Like, if the bridge has been burnt from the first game because it did really stretch out, thank you.
What are bridges?
If it did really like it took its time to get you there, then they have to do a lot of work to win you back here. And I don't expect you to play it and enjoy it. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think your love for this is going to come down to your love of Kojima's style. I think if you find him really self-indulgent and just you kind of don't really care about watching cool cutscenes, and like I do think there's a really good, strong emotional story here that is one of the best I've seen in a game. I'll just say, like,
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's weird. It's completely weird. I say best
Yeah.
with lots of
Interesting.
asterisks. It's
interesting is the strongest part of best in this.
Feels darker, I think.
It feels
as well.
darker. It just really it hits the emotional core of what it's trying to do, as opposed to the first one, which I think kind of just lost me in its weirdness.
Yeah.
It was like, I think I know what's going on.
Is my mum the president
Yeah.
and also
I
the
don't-
baby
yeah.
on my chest?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm meant to be
Your
sad here or
princess,
happy here.
your princess
Yeah.
is on another beach or something.
And she's your mom.
and
Who's
who's
dead?
mom?
Yeah. Am I dead? Why are we on the beach? Isn't the beach death?
Yeah.